All right, so today we are going to be talking about function notation. So we have already introduced what makes something a function and the way that we write them. We talked about also their domain and range. So here now we're going to use something called function notation. This notation is what is predominantly going to be used in Algebra 2, in pre-calculus, and calculus. So this is something that's really, really important, is definitely going to kind of flow through the rest of your math classes. So function notation is the standard way to write functions. It basically replaces the y in an equation written in traditional equation notation. So if you have y equals 9 minus 4x, in function notation, we would write that f of x equals 9 minus 4x. So notice that all we've done is taken the y and replaced it with f of x. So you can see here, f of x is how we write that. It is not f times x. No. I always get students who just, haven't done their practice, haven't been exposed to the function notation enough, because they haven't done the practice, who think that because of the parentheses, they think it means to multiply f and x together. It is not multiplication. F is the name of the function, and x tells you what the input variable is. So if you had, say, f of k, that would just mean that k is the input variable instead of x. So we read it f of x, not f times x. So here is how we use it. This is the most important part. So you'll see things written in function notation like this. This says, if we're reading that in words, that says find f of 1. And what that means is to plug 1 in for the x value and to simplify it. So this does not mean f times 1. It means plug in 1. So here I'm going to plug 1 in, so f of 1 equals, and then I just use the function rule exactly as we see it, except where the x is, I'm going to plug in 1. And then I'm going to simplify. So in simplifying, don't do the 9 minus 4 first. Remember, PEMDAS tells us multiplication first. So I do the 4 times 1 first, which gives me 4. So then I have 9 minus 4, which is, of course, 5. So that tells me that f of 1 is equal to 5. All right. So next, we are going to find f of 2. So I want you to answer the question saying and telling me that you understand what f of -2 means. So once we know what f of -2 means, then we can actually find it. So in this case, f of -2 is going to be 9 minus 4 times -2. Again, make sure we follow order of operations. I have -4 times -2, which is +8. So I have 9 plus 8, which then gives me 17. All right, the other thing we'll have with function notation is something where it says, if f of x equals 33, what is x? So this is where we work backward. We know f of x, want to find x. So since we know f of x, yes, it's still a plug-in problem, but it's not plugging it in for x. And that's what I get a lot of the time, is that people just see the number and they automatically put it in for x. This is f of x is 33. So 33 is my f of x. equals 9 minus 4x, and then I'm going to solve. So that means I need to subtract the 9 on both sides first. 33 minus 9 gives me 24 equals negative 4x. Then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. Those go away. And then I have x equals negative 6. All right, so for D here, I'm going to have you do this on your own. So go ahead. If f of x is negative 11, what is x? So same thing that I did in C, you're now going to do with this new value. So go ahead, pause for a moment, and figure out what x should be there. Okay, so I put the negative 11 in for the f of x, and I'm just going to do the exact same things I did in C. First, I subtract 9 on both sides. That gives me negative 20 equals negative 4x. Divide both sides by negative 4. And negative 20 divided by negative 4 is positive 5. So x equals 5 there. Okay, in example 2, same idea, but we have a new function this time. So that means that we're going to answer these for f of x equals 2x plus 3. So we're no longer using f of x equals 9 minus 4x. So new function rule here. So first thing we want to do is find f of 5. So f of 5 means to plug 5 in for x. So go ahead, do that, and then come back and tell what you got. So again, f of 5 means to plug in 5 in place of the x. So 2 times 5 plus 3, and then we simplify. Order of operations, multiplication first, that gives me 10. 10 plus 3 gives me a final answer of 13. All right, last one. If f of x equals negative 5, what is x? So again, this time we're plugging it in for the f of x. So negative 5 equals 2x plus 3. We're going to solve for x. So subtract 3 on both sides. That gives me negative 8 equals 2x. Divide by 2. And that means x equals negative 4. All right. So understanding what the notation is and what it means is the most important thing. So we've done a bunch of examples here. Hopefully you feel comfortable with it. Make sure that you let us know if you have questions.